Prime Minister Allen Chastanet concedes that fashioning the 2020-2021 estimates was by no means an easy task, as the Great Lockdown takes a stranglehold of the global economy. The key economic indicators are in the negative territory, with the mainstay of the economy, tourism, projected to decline by half. For the government leader, the definition of the annual process could not be more apt in the age of the COVID-19-induced Great Lockdown.
I've said that for the first time, what we're doing is living up to its name, and that it's the estimates. It was a very difficult budget to be able to put together. We're still in the midst of the storm, so it's very difficult to predict what's actually going to happen. So if you'll notice in our budget, we have estimated that tourism for the year will be down 50%. And we have a significantly reduced income level of, I think, about $950 million, which is down from our original estimate of almost $300 million. And that is predicated on us getting back to where we were pre-COVID by January, so for the last quarter. So we have a lot of work to be able to do.
With deficits the order of the day given the size and scale of the global economic recession, Chastanet offered up the approach undertaken by his administration in the face of fiscal challenges. There will be no turning back on a number of capital works projects which were already in train before the COVID-19 crisis.
We are operating counterintuitively. What I mean by that is what some of the normal things that you would expect us to do, we're not able to do. So for instance, we have increased expenditures, we have reduced revenue, and the combination of that is created now an 8% deficit, which is, an extremely high deficit, but that's the impact of COVID. And the reason for the expenditures is because we do have to continue basic operations of government, as well as to try to replace some of the tourism revenue in the first 3 quarters is through construction. And so some of the critical projects that we are lucky that we have, that have already been financed and are shovel ready, is to push those projects hard as much as we can in the initial stages, 1, to create jobs, and 2, to try to create revenue for the government. And so that the foreign direct investment is really coming in the form of those loans.
Chastanet has touted what he as his administration's goal of reducing the debt to GDP ratio. Some critics have challenged the numbers, citing recent rebasing exercises. Nonetheless, while the figures are down, the expectation is that they will start going back up, given the need for expansionary fiscal policy in the interim. With spending outstripping revenues, the deficit as a percentage of the GDP is expected to rise.
We were extremely proud of the fact that we've been able to bring the debt to GDP of St. Lucia down to 59%. What's the significance of that? That is an ambition that we've had to achieve by 2030. And here is it that we would have achieved it 4 years into government, which is a remarkable feat. But with what's taking place right now, that number is expected to balloon by somewhere between 15 and 20% over the year. So very difficult times, very difficult budget to put together, but we have a lot of work ahead of us in order to be able to even achieve some of the numbers that we have in our budget.
The Prime Minister is expected to lay the estimates of expenditure for the financial year 2020-2021 in the sum of $1,697,312,800 in the House as a charge against the Consolidated Fund and other funds of the State of St. Lucia on Wednesday, April 29th, 2020. Colby DeVoe, HTS News Force.